He hit it.
Oh, he did he?
Hey,
what did he hit?
The button.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our previous conversation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. I don't have my phone on me. But it is basically
what?
Tuesday, October 18th. A few minutes left.
Close enough.
Monday, October 17th. The Broncos and Chargers just played a Monday night game.
Ugh.
Look, I see there's a lot of angry hat chatter, which is funny because the Broncos just played and they are the favorite.
Wait, I'm sorry. What'd you call it? Angry hat chatter?
The chat is full of hat chatter. Angry hat chatter. H. Hemorrhage is literally typing dislike and disliking the. All right, look, just can you do Debo is walking away from these hats. I don't have any of the hats. They want
the hat, the Brinson sucks hats. Okay, I was confused what you're talking about. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but the South Park, South Park had a whole episode called #FreeHat.
Okay, well, when in doubt, guys, I typically blame Brinson and then figure out what the actual truth is. Billy says he'll get on the hats, having no idea what we're talking about. So good luck with that, Billy.
I can't say I have no idea who needs hats or who's due hats. Debo has a list.
Yeah, Debo done bonked out.
Debo bonks. Yeah, put a #FreeHat or #Brinson sucks in the chat or whatever you want. I've got an I suck hat somewhere around here.
Well, Debo kept all the hats. He's selling them on eBay. That's why he got out of here. He knew people were after him. It's like when you owe someone money, and instead of them breaking your knees, you move to Mexico or something so they can't find you. That's what Debo did here.
Yeah, Billy says he'll ask.
Look, these hats. Billy says he'll ask Debo about it. Down. Okay.
Just as I said, Billy said he'll ask Debo about it, and our buddy Lewis made the hats originally. And I'm sure if we get in touch with Lewis, we can mend the fences that have been broken.
Hit that Jim Coogan, the Jim Coogan comment. Someone promised punch and pie. It's a
What's
great
that
line.
from?
It's a great line. It's the one above it. Jim Coogan. Someone promised punch and pie. That's from South Park. It's from
Is that Cartman?
He's like I was. Someone promised it'd be punch and pie here.
Oh yeah.
Gotta love South Park.
All right, quit delaying the inevitable doo-doo horrific game we have to talk about, which is going to be Breech talking for 4 minutes about how a one-legged kicker won the game.
Actually, I think Breech is going to be talking about the fact that his Super Bowl pick,
ouch,
is now 2-4 after 4 games in prime time. Do you know they've scored 52 points in 4 games?
I'm going to say the most insane thing you've ever heard, Brinson. I'm glad you brought this up to start the podcast.
I could hear you.
My 2 Super Bowl teams were the Green Bay Packers and the Denver Broncos. Wow. And if you ask me who I feel better about right this second, it's probably the Broncos. And
no,
they're
you
2-4.
That's not true.
I just said it.
You know, they have in common, though, is Nathaniel Hackett.
That they do have that in common. The Packers lost Nathaniel Hackett and they look lost. The Broncos have Nathaniel Hackett and they look lost. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, by the way, I should point out Wednesday is Brady Quinn Football Show. If you have a charity, I need to check the iTunes and see if we've got any more charities on there. If you have a charity that you like a legitimate charity that you are passionate about, put it in an iTunes review. I mean, I gotta say, I don't want to say DM me or email me because I'm not sure I'll see it for sure. But
I appreciate your honesty.
Tweet at me on Twitter, and we'll see if because Brady is like.
Why don't you tweet at the Pick Six Pod, because that Billy and
that's your call. Yeah, if you have a good charity, tweet at the Pick Six Pod. We prefer you leave it in Apple iTunes anyway. Brady owes $1,000 to a charity. He is
Brady going to go this year.
What's that?
It's that Brady going to go broke this year. Robert Saleh.
I mean, Jets could win the Super Bowl, and I think Brady would
He'd be all right.
Might be not worried about it.
I got a nice little chuckle out of Brady sort of retweeting the news that TNT/TBS is re-upping the NBA crew for 10 more years. And I saw Charles making on average $10-ish million a year. Brady's like, that's a great team. And me thinking Brady's trying to get in on some of that TNT money.
Wait, do you think Brady Quinn was trying to get on the TNT money?
I'm just making a joke. Brady does a great job on Big Noon kickoff. And, he's just trying to let people know that maybe he's due a raise too.
If they needed former NFL quarterback to do NBA analyst,
not specifically the NBA show. Thanks for killing this joke. My point is that Brady does a studio show on site on Saturdays, does a great job for Fox, and I'm sure he would love to get in on that sort of money. That's all I'm saying.
Broncos country, let's collide. That's pretty good.
Gosh,
we can't do a hat fund. We can't just go hand out the money to someone in a bridge because Brady is going to. I mean, Brady's going to take the tax write-off. Can't blame him. He will. He should.
Okay.
I can't tell if anybody's serious or not. Anyway,
what are you talking about? Focus. Turn off the comments and let's get to this game.
Reading the comments. You yelled about. You were talking about TNT.
The Broncos' entire season is a tax write-off at this point.
Oh,
so, Breech, give me one positive from this game on the Broncos side. Like, what is one thing that you can be happy about if you're a Broncos fan right now?
You say Russell Wilson played better in the first quarter than he has in any quarter all season. And if maybe next week he plays like that for 2 quarters, and then the week after that for 3 quarters, and the week after that for 4 quarters, you have a full good Russell Wilson in 4 weeks.
So you have to wait a month to see Russell Wilson 2 months.
You're trying to Frankenstein a Russell Wilson good game together?
At this point, you don't have any other options.
Russell Wilson is awful.
So just to be clear,
120 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's right. So Breech, you're right.
He finished 15 to 28 for 188. That's just no picks.
So he went 10 for 10, and then he went 5 for 18. So that's the problem. Yeah. Like, I don't even know how to fix it. I think, and maybe I'm just reading Twitter too much, I feel like Russ is done. Like, I don't know what the easy fix is.
Russ is cooked.
Russ is indeed cooked. He was in the kitchen too long. He's no longer cooking. He's in the pot next to the frog, boiling slowly to a demise that is imminent.
So I was on HQ earlier this evening before the game. Me and Danny Cannell. Shout out to us. We both took the Broncos in the under. Both hit. Yay.
What was the spread?
+4. Bronco or Chargers -4, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was with our friends Joe Musso and Katie Mox, and they asked us what we thought what the deal with the Broncos and Russ was. And to me, it boils down to, and I think I don't think it like clearly manifests itself every time in every game. But I do think the biggest problems I would take away from the Broncos and the offense is, one, the hand injury from last year. I think it's still a problem. He is not the same player that he was before that hand injury or before the 2021 season.
I don't even want to disagree with that, but then that's negligent on the part of the Broncos.
For sure.
Okay. We agree. Go on.
I mean, they had a chance to
not take him.
Completely vet him in this massive trade for multiple first-round picks. Now, the other issue, and I've stressed this since the preseason. I mean, that's why I said it'd be crazy to pick the Broncos to go deep in the playoffs.
What about win the Super Bowl?
Oh my God, what kind of moron would do that?
What kind of idiot would pick up the Super Bowl?
This team is 4 plays away from being 5-1, and it's Russell Wilson is the problem. That's the crazy thing.
That look on Russ's face, if you're watching on YouTube, that's the look of a man who just found out that
I am Mr. Limited.
No, that's the look of a face who just found out that Breech picked him to win the Super Bowl.
If they had a somewhat decent quarterback, they literally fight. If Daniel Jones was their quarterback, they
what if Geno Smith was their quarterback?
Eugene Cyril Smith, the
quarterback. They would be 5-1 right now.
They would be at least 5-1. You got it.
Oh, but that's okay. Again, the other, I disagree with that too. Because
why?
They have 2 overtime losses, and they lost to the Seahawks in week 1 because they fumbled twice on the 1-yard line.
What is that? What does the quarterback have to do with fumbling twice on the 1-yard line?
Well, the fact that they only scored 16 points as it was, I am saying that if they had Geno Smith, they would be 5-1.
No one has more to lose than Breech. He knows the ins and outs of why this team stinks.
Desperation is a stinky cologne.
Billy!
Yes! There it is. Well done, Billy. Billy has done more than 2 weeks than Debo did in 3 years.
6 weeks to move ahead of Debo. Debo was here for 6 years, 6.5 years.
All right, Brinson,
let me just finish up the point.
Let me just say this quickly so you can pad stat your point. So what Breech just mentioned here. So 16 points, 11, 23, 9. And then tonight they scored 16 again. 16 again. So
up 16.
So they can't score. They're the lowest scoring team in the league. That includes the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go ahead.
And the Bears.
I think that trying to have a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who is spent his entire career in Seattle, switch teams while also bringing in a new head coach, and then giving Russ all this empowerment to decide what kind of offense they're going to run, what plays they're going to run, while also incorporating a brand new offense. Like he's running Nathaniel Hackett's West Coast offense instead of.
Do we know that he's been empowered, or that's Brinson speculation?
I mean, Peyton Manning said it like week 1. He's like,
okay.
I talked to Russ.
Okay.
Like, and that sort of spoke to the play clock issues. I think that this.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. Let me push back. You're taking the blame off Nathaniel Hackett and putting it on Russ for that. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's a collaborative F up.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, like Hackett, by virtue of the trade, Hackett sort of. I mean,
what happened first, Hackett or Russ?
Hackett.
Okay,
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hackett for sure, because they wanted to bring in Aaron Rodgers, and they whiffed on Rodgers. They went after Russ.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know. I just think that it's an unfamiliarity with whatever he's running. Also, Russell Wilson's style of play does not we saw, I think it was Steve Young or maybe it was RG. Somebody in the pregame show was showing Russ needs more of this. And Russ is running 700 miles horizontally behind the line of scrimmage looking for an open play. And then, it was Larry Fitz. He was like, I've been burned a bunch by this. And he shows him throwing this, he's off his back foot, bomb to Doug Baldwin, who makes this great catch on the sidelines. Point being is you can't run this West Coast offense that Hackett is based out of when you doing the things that Russ wants to do as a quarterback. And so those two things don't mesh well.
What does Russ want to do? Because it's unclear to me that
he wants to run around and do Russ stuff.
Yeah, but when
a good example of that though is the 3rd and 1 on the Broncos' first possession, the screen grab that went around Twitter, where Russell Wilson drops back to pass, literally has someone wide open, wide open, 5 yards in front of him. Any one of us probably could have made the throw. I don't think Russell Wilson saw the person, and then he ran around, got sacked, and now you have 4th and 5, and you have to kick a field goal.
Did Russ do this?
You have a quarterback who is running an offense that does not cater to his specific improvisational skill set.
Yeah, I feel like
and you have a coach who's in his first year.
Are you making excuses for Russ? I don't.
No, I'm saying that this is why it's not working.
Okay, because I think that Russ he was drafted in 2012, so this is year 11 for him. He should be able to run any offense. If you put Aaron Rodgers in this offense, it's going to work because they worked together previously. Nathaniel Hackett, but here's the thing: it worked with Blake Bortles in 2017. So, I again, this is what I said on the show. I don't know. Last time we had to watch these idiots play in primetime and we're frustrated by it. Yeah, Russ is why Brazil says in the chat, Russ is looking for Jesus to take the wheel. The problem is he makes more than Jesus, so he needs to be the one in the driver's seat. To your point, Breech, I don't remember the play you're talking about, but I know a couple times, and Troy Aikman actually mentioned this, the Chargers brought 5, and when they bring 5 or 6, it's a hot read. I even know that. I don't know jack squat about
you make it all off the line. You tell a guy to,
and all I know is twice on 2 occasions when I was half paying attention, Cortland Sutton's running a shallow immediately after the ball is snapped, and Russ, to your point, Brinson, is running around like he's looking to make some big play. The one big play he did make, he wasn't able to step in through it, and KJ Hamler made that nice catch down the field. That ball could have been intercepted. Bad things could have happened. That was sort of the big-ish play for Russ. But, again, he looks nothing like what we saw in Seattle. And as this season progresses, the more I sort of understand, while Pete Carroll was passive-aggressively trolling Russ in that Week 1 game, it felt like Pete Carroll felt like he was being vindicated for taking all the heat for Russ. I showed you guys a clip earlier. I put it in Slack. I was talking to Billy about this before you guys came on. Richard Sherman on his podcast talking to Marshawn about how, Richard Sherman was basically slighting Russ for being Russ for the reasons that we've heard reported, including that you have to call Russ's manager if you want to talk to him, which makes sense if it's one of us trying to get in touch with Russ. It makes less sense if you're Marshawn or Sherman. In Marshawn's defense, he's like, look, I want to get Russ straight. I have his back. I don't think he should have to endure this. I've endured similar things playing for terrible teams. He mentioned his time in Buffalo when the Bills were terrible. I get all that, but there's too much invested in Russ. Too much was given up by the Broncos for Russ to be this terrible. Whatever the offense, whatever the reason, I'm blaming Russ 51%. I'm blaming Nathaniel Hackett 49% because he's the head coach. I don't care that he's been there one year.
Somebody, I missed it. Somebody flew back up. Somebody in the chat made the point that Darrell Bevel, the old, obviously, OC for the Seahawks, was West Coast. Yes, of course. He came out of the, I think, Holmgren, Green Bay coaching staff.
Yeah, that's my point. I don't care about all the running.
No, but my point, the principles are the same, but the Seahawks, when Bevel was there with Russ, first, second, third, And then finally 20th and 21st, the offense kind of sucked in 2016 and 2017. They were so run heavy. Like this is not like a, it wasn't Russ doing like 3-step ding 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 ding. Like
Russ was on a rookie deal. Russ is
right, but it was a Pete Carroll offense, is what I'm saying.
It was Darrell Bevel offense, right?
Oh, but I mean, Darrell Bevel was the OC, but it's Pete Carroll is like, look, dude, we're running the ball with Marshawn Lynch, and we want you to. It was sort of a modified West Coast thing where they had Russ running stuff that he ran at Wisconsin, which he was great at because he's so good at play action, where he bootlegs out and he sees the field deep and can read it like that. Whatever they're doing isn't working.
I don't think
the larger point.
Well, let me turn it on you. What would work for this version of Russ Wilson, who appears to be absolutely utterly terrible? There's the if you're watching on YouTube,
real quick, if you're watching on YouTube, this is the third and 1. All they had to do is get to the 28-yard line.
I don't see anyone open, Breech. Who are you looking at?
Actually, you're right. We could actually make those throws.
Are you serious, Russ?
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, okay. That's actually. I mean, I could make that throw.
This is a third and 1. There is no doubt.
You don't have to be 5'1". You can be 3'7". And
but Brinson, the difference is that Breech can throw the ball 40 yards. You can only throw the ball 20
But this isn't missing the slant in overtime against the Colts, where maybe you didn't look to your right. Like if that's guys your third read, like there's an excuse for missing that. There's no excuse for missing this throw.
So like when I'm doing my junior draft analyst stuff and I'm trying to watch these quarterbacks and figure out what's going on, a lot of times what happens in these screenshots is that we sort of pick and choose what looks open and what doesn't look open. So if you look at Russ's helmet, he's looking to the right. And the question you have to ask yourself is, what the hell is he looking at to the right? Because I think he
needs 1 yard.
Right, exactly. It's not like
doesn't this go back to the KJ Hamler non-throw from the last time we did a Russ game where the Broncos didn't like. For whatever reason, he's looking at the wrong place.
But here's the thing. He may not be looking at the wrong place, Brinson. Maybe that's the first read. But here's the thing. If you just look, as Breech notes, 5 yards to your left as you go through this progression, presumably it's from right to left. And again, we have no idea, but he's one of the highest paid people in the league. You see someone who is, to quote Bruce Arians, wide ass open. And why aren't you making that throw? And if I was watching, some Division II quarterback, I'd be like, okay, that's a throw that anyone on Sunday should be able to make. And apparently you can make it on Sunday, but not on Monday. I don't know what the reason is that he missed this throw, other than it feels like he does a lot of one look. And to your point, Brinson, earlier about this muddled offense, one look and run.
Well, he's clearly, I mean, like he's looking, I think it's Judy on the right side, trying to, and they're playing zone. They got the guys dropped in zone, obviously. But like he's not looking
1 yard. You need 1 yard. That's it. Like,
right. Yeah. So again, I'm not trying to make excuses for Russ, like just like the last primetime game. I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to be the Russell Wilson apologist.
Yeah,
why is this
Brinson, how much did Sierra send you? 10 grand?
How much? Why is he looking right when there's a guy who could clear it over the middle?
But maybe that's just the slant's there, and then this is the check down. Okay, we haven't even seen the play. But my point is that if you're making, I don't know, what is he? Does he make $45 million? What does he make?
A lot.
Yeah, if you make $45 million plus a year, you should be able to come off a slant and then throw the check down in the middle of the field with no one in front of you. Like he's short, but there's no one between him and the receiver that would get the first down. And would you say Breech at 29? They needed?
Yeah, the 29-yard line is where they need.
And this guy's standing at 35. So, yeah, the read doesn't have to be always the first read. I mean, this guy's Russ Wilson.
That's a bad play call if that's your depth.
That is not a bad – if this is Bailey Zappi, Bailey Zappi is making this play. How are you defending Russ Wilson because it's a terrible play
call? I'm not defending Russell Wilson. I'm saying that this is a fundamentally problematic offense.
How is it that every quarterback in the league can get through a read, but Russ Wilson, it should be the first read every time, or it's a bad play call? That doesn't make sense to me.
I'm really not.
And then
Russell Wilson,
even though Russell did make a few plays that we saw from his classic Seahawks days, where he ran around, make a couple throws downfield, but like you guys were saying, he doesn't look like the Russell Wilson that he used to. And one of those big throws downfield was right before halftime when he hit Jerry Jeudy or KJ Hamler for the 47-yarder. And or he underthrew. Maybe it was. It might not
he couldn't step into that throw, but that's right. Like
there's
a defender in front of him. So
no, I think Jeudy caught a 37-yarder at some point in the game. I'm getting not the Hamler one was just wild. That was good job by everyone. But he underthrew Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy could have scored on his. It was just he doesn't look like he can put.
I mean, I don't know if there's another defender to the left because you can't see it, or just looking at this, you could just like flip the ball over to the left to, I think that's Melvin Gordon, and he's just waltzing for a first down.
Or throw it in the middle of the field. I mean,
or
you're looking
run. Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of
looking that way.
Right, but like again, this is sort of my point. Is like if
and the other part here is that he gets sacked on this play.
That's impossible.
Again, like you don't want to be like you don't want to be screenshot X and O's guys, but as we sit here watching this screenshot, it seems pretty obvious what should happen. And I get it, like the people are flying in your face, you're 5'10" or whatever, but there's a clear alley to throw the ball in the middle of the field. He's not doing it. He holds onto the ball. I feel like he's not seeing the field very well. I mentioned those when he gets blitzed and Cortland Sutton's running a shallow wide ass open on at least 2 occasions that I paid attention to. He did not throw the ball. I think he got sacked on both of those. It just happens repeatedly, and it's like he is a first-year quarterback who's coming from a D3 program, and he'd only play that D3 program 1 year after transferring from a community college that didn't have a football program. Like, that's what he looks like. Brinson, your rebuttal.
Yep. Like, you hit the wrong buttons.
Oh, what a big jam. Wallace took it in his hands and said, up and away, Dixie-doo, Dunkaroo.
We haven't heard Dickie V in a while. It is. Oh, by the way, shout out to my boys for being ranked #1 in basketball. Breech, the UNC Tar Heels, big season up. Hey, Breech, let me ask you this: what'd you think of this? So Russ Wilson makes $45+ million a year, and here was the offensive game plan for every single freaking series: 2 runs by Murray while Melvin Gordon was on the bench fuming, and then a 3rd down drop back by Russ that was sacked. Like, again, if you have the best player in the NFL, according to the salary scale, why are you running the ball every single 1st and 2nd down?
You know what? That's not even my problem, is that if you want to do that, and it's working, then stick with it. Once they benched Melvin Gordon and put in Latavius Murray, he was averaging 4.4 yards per carry. And the Broncos' first possession of overtime was a good example of this. First play of overtime, 5-yard run by Latavius Murray. Second play of overtime, 4-yard run by Latavius Murray. It is now 3rd and 1. You are moving the ball. What do? Oh, you call a pass play when you are just moving the ball right down the field. You're matriculating it on the ground. You call a pass play. It's incomplete. You have to punt. Just get the first down. You don't have to be cute on 3rd and 1. Just get the first down. Call the pass play on 1st down after you get the first down.
I will say this. The big winner of this game is Justin Herbert, because we're not talking about how poorly he played. I mean, a lot of mitigating circumstances, but he did not play well. But Russ Wilson is so
0 touchdowns on 57 pass attempts.
He Mitchell Trubisky that game and somehow won it. But Russ, and Brinson, you are right about this. It's not entirely Russ's fault, whether he's operating at 48% or not. Like, Nathaniel Hackett's not helping him. The offense isn't helping him. The defense is helping him a lot. Like, the defense is like one of the best defenses we've seen in a long time. They're absolutely balling out. They're probably extremely frustrated. And
it's the combination of this, like, defense and this horrendous offense, and this, like, somehow the Broncos do this incredible job of dragging their opponent down into the muck with them in every primetime game.
Yeah, it just makes it a horrible ball.
I mean, there hadn't been let's see, the Seahawks game in week 1 was Monday Night Football. 17-16 Seahawks. Were they back on week 2? No,
they got 4 more. They got 4 more games.
I know. Week 3, it was the 49ers Broncos on Sunday Night Football, 11-10. Disgusting.
Geez, disgusting. Indeed.
And then it was last week, week 5, they were Thursday night, Colts Broncos 12-9. And then with 11 days to prepare against a divisional opponent, 19-16 they lose. I mean, these are disgusting games.
Does Nathaniel Hackett?
This is actually insane. Chris Joseph in the chat right there says DraftKings Sportsbook did a I think it was like even money. So I saw somebody else in another chat. It was like had bet. You can only bet so much on this, but they did a boost where all Herbert was like over under Justin Herbert 0.5 touchdowns, even money, which you're like, okay, free
layup. Yeah.
And how improbable?
He's the second person to do it this year.
No, the second player in NFL history to throw 55 or more passes with 0 touchdowns in a win and win the game.
In a win. Oh, because Kyler Murray did it earlier this year.
Second ever. And then also only the second time ever in Herbert's career that he's thrown 0 touchdown passes.
What? Yeah. Jamie in the chat notes that Dustin Hopkins had a quad hamstring and still played better than Russ. What are the chances? I'll put it at 40.
Wait, why don't you set us up for a break and say do it?
Okay, 42% is.
Say
No, just listen. I got it. I know. 42% is the over/under, and when we come back, I want you to tell me: are you taking over or under? Nathaniel Hackett has a job at 42% going into 2023.
I'll answer that question next. So Wilson's question is, and leave your answer in the chat, over under 42% Nathaniel Hackett has a job. We were also asked about Staley versus Hackett in terms of, what did we talk about? Did we talk about this on? I can't keep it.
Who the worst coach was?
No, who's more likely to get fired?
Staley versus Hackett feels like Fox News versus CNN. Like they're the opposite ends of the spectrum politically, if you will. Like in terms of like reading the sheet for going for it on fourth down.
I think it's a Hackett's. I mean, if it were the two of them head to head, it would be Hackett minus 250 for me.
Yeah, but only in part because last year Staley had a lot of success, but also Breech gets pretty fired up about some of those fourth down calls from your own 19 or whatever.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about Staley. I mean, yeah, this is sort of a setup for Staley on the late game clock management, which is absurdly bad. The one thing I'll say about
I didn't hate the thing you were
just in
about,
terms of like job security. Nathaniel Hackett was not hired by the current like uber billionaires who bought the Broncos,
who were hanging out with Lewis Hamilton. I didn't know he was a part owner in the stands. Good for Lewis.
Like the Walton family doesn't like flinch at the idea of firing Nathaniel Hackett and his salary after 1 year if they feel like he's the reason they didn't make the playoffs.
Well, they're not making the playoffs. Sorry for spoiler alert there, Breech. So,
I'm not off the bandwagon.
Hamilton to me. That's right. So, by the way, 42% over under. What are you doing? On February 15th, 2023,
he has a job
with the Broncos.
Yeah, right.
And he's not the equipment manager. He hasn't been demoted.
I will take the under.
Under 42%, Breech. What are you going to do?
Right now? Yeah.
See, Breech knows what's up.
I'm going to say.
You want to go over? I mean,
you can push.
I don't want to go over, but I can't. I'm going over.
Dude, they're 2-4, and you're like, they should be 5-1. No, they could be.
They should be 5-1.
Dude, they could be 0-6 so easily.
No, but here's the thing:
0-6.
If Sean Payton was their coach, would they be 2-4? That's sort of, you take the extreme at the other end,
right?
They would not.
They would not be 2-4.
No,
they would not have tried a 64-yard field goal in Seattle if John Payton was their coach.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
They would have tied the game in overtime.
Denver is a good landing spot for Sean Payton.
I heard there are a lot of teams that are going to be interested in Sean Payton. The other team they played might be interested. The Cleveland Browns might be interested in Sean Payton.
That's a part ahead of the course on Kevin Stefanski. I don't think Sean Payton would go to Cleveland.
I don't think he would either. But that doesn't mean old Jim Haslam isn't going to try.
Well, I mean, David Tepper's going to try too. He's going to try and throw $40 billion a year at Sean Payton.
I will name the Carnegie Mellon Business School after you and take my name off of it.
It would no longer be Mardi Gras. It'll be Payton Gras. Like, it's not happening, man. Like, you don't have a quarterback. If they draft one, maybe it changes.
Better coach, Victor Garcia.
Well, let's not move past the fact that Brandon Staley.
Well, let's just answer this question real quick. Better coach, Nathaniel Hackett or Matt Patricia? I'm taking Matt Patricia.
Ooh.
You're the ultimate Matt Patricia hater.
That should tell you where we're at.
Let's just Lego my Dago comment here. Let's toss that one up there just for fun. Let's guess their age. Brinson, youngest.
It's ridiculous.
And Brinson and Wilson just behind Breech. Nice. I love it.
I think you're saying that Breech looks like an old.
That's what happens. I've got the grays here.
Yeah,
I had a kid.
Here's the thing, Breech. Here's the thing. Like, we have gray hair, and one of the three of us has hair plugs. So yeah, clearly that person who colors their hair and has hair plugs and colors their beard.
It's an outrageous claim.
Brinson makes.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
$10,000 a month from Just for Men,
and this is all natural.
It's a good spot.
I'm starting a company called Just for Gray for Men, where those of us who are naturally not gray are accused of dyeing our hair, but in reality, we need to get a little gray just so people like you people won't.
Oh my God, you hear that, Billy? He said, "You people."
I'm talking to you and Breech, man.
Like he's a Ross Perot.
Ryan is actually 65 for this.
65. Yeah, I went to high school with Prisco.
All right, so on Staley.
Yeah, I will say, curly-haired Billy Trice does have the best hair in the pod.
Nah, not when you count age in a factor.
I would like to see Brinson with a perm, though. I will say that.
Devo. I was going to Devo. Billy does have a perm.
Billy does have a perm. He dressed up like Russ Wilson tonight, and he's bragging about it.
He's like, when Billy's hair is long, he looks like Russ Wilson. When it's short, he looks like.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear this.
I don't know, it's kind of reminds me of like Ben Stiller from.
Oh, that was a right turn.
Starsky and Hutch.
Oh my God, I didn't see that coming. Saved yourself from the HR complaint.
All right. Anyway, so Staley, I'm gonna walk back through this on the. They freaking stat. Please load back. The stats are down for this game. Which makes sense.
No.
I'm looking at it. What do you want to know?
They're back up. They're back up. All right. Let's talk about the end of the game situation with Staley because he nearly went into overtime with 3 timeouts.
Yeah. Okay. I saw you tweeting about it. What are you angry about? Like, I understood why I called the timeout 1 second to go because it was 4th down. So what did you want to happen?
No, I'm not mad about that one. I'm talking about the part where they got the ball. Let's see.
The last drive where he let Justin Herbert get crushed.
No, I'm not even mad about the getting crushed thing. There was he let like 40 seconds go off the clock without calling timeouts, and they're trying to go up there and score.
Yeah, but they were up against it. They were behind the sticks, as you know,
behind the sticks,
as people say. And then if it had been 3rd down, then you call the timeout immediately after the next to last play.
On 3rd and 5, he picks up the 1st down and doesn't call a timeout.
What time? But wait a second. How much time is left and where's the ball?
They had it on their own 35.
With how much time?
Well, I mean, by the time he didn't call the timeouts.
No, at the end of the
All right, so the Broncos punted at the 2-minute warning.
151 because that was that weird play where the clock ran. Yep.
It's to the Chargers 25. Herbert, no gain to Eckler.
Okay.
So they snapped the ball at the next at 127 left on the clock. Short to Eckler for 5 yards. So you have 3rd and 5 look, I get it. Like you don't want to be blasting timeouts.
Yeah. So I don't understand what you're angry about.
At 103, he dumps it off to Eckler for 5 yards.
Again, that's what the 30-ish or 35-ish.
You have to hammer the timeout right there.
At your own 35?
Yes, you just got a 1st down. You have 3 downs. Worst case, you punt.
No, I'm fine with it.
Wow.
They weren't moving the ball.
They got a Denver timeout is because somebody got hurt.
Right. That's right. And that took 20 minutes. I hate it when people get hurt, but I wish we had a system in place where you would get like a little Jetsons, magic bus out there to get you out the field quickly.
Well, and the other part is we always, Staley's argument for going for it on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 is I have so much faith in my offense. Well, if you had so much faith in your offense, you would have actually gone for it on 4th and 1 with 25 seconds left instead of letting the clock run down to 2 seconds.
I think you answered your own question.
Well, right, because he saw what happened throughout the night, that they got beat up and Justin Herbert was getting killed back there. And like, I get why he didn't do it, but for someone who has been willing to gamble in plays like that, in situations like that,
did you want him to go? You think he should have gone for it?
No, I don't think he should have, because if you get stopped there, the Broncos are basically in field goal range. I mean,
right.
If they don't gain a yard, they get to try a 62-yarder to win. If they gain 3 yards, it's a 59-yarder. So like, you can't go there and fail. But
they were down.
He almost did against the Broncos. He did against the Browns last week, where except it was slightly different because he was at the 46 instead of the 44. But similar situation.
I think here's my take on Staley. Staley has a good grasp on, or had a good grasp, but on like when to be aggressive on 4th downs and when to go. But oftentimes, when you've got all that stuff you're thinking about, plus all the other stuff you're doing as a head coach, in the moment, maybe it's just, if there's a lot to do, it's a hard job. And I just thought you had to get yourself a look for a field goal there.
How? Like it wasn't working. Like the Denver defense is unbelievable. You were down Rashawn Slater already. The center was in and out in the second half.
Corey Linsley's a big deal, but Rashawn Slater's done. I mean,
yeah, he's not playing. I mean, what do you mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like he was.
That doesn't mean you just keep calling the same plays, even though you
when he got hurt tonight, he got hurt 2 weeks ago.
Right, but you still have to account for that, right? When you call the plays.
Yes, one would hope that would go into the pregame game planning.
Yeah, so I mean, I have no issue with the way they play, given how the previous 59 minutes and 50 seconds were like, oh my God, Justin Herbert is barely staying alive back there, and Russ Wilson is cooked. So let's just play this thing out and see how it goes. And we haven't even talked about it. You play the long game as Brandon Staley, and you end up winning because the Broncos it up when the guy runs into the punt returner who muffs the punt and sets up the game-winning field goal by the aforementioned Dustin Hopkins with one leg.
There were 5 possessions in overtime in this game.
How many first downs?
0.
My goodness.
Do you know how many total yards there were in
-8?
Net yards, accounting for penalties, net yards.
0.
Is that right?
I'm going with -8.
Hold on. Let me think.
I thought you had the answer.
Man, my man busted out a real life calculator.
Actually, I do know the answer. It's not 0.
Is it -8?
It's not negative.
3.
2.
You're a little bit
200. There you go.
6.
16.
There we go. We got it.
5 drives, 16 yards, 2 teams, and someone won. It's crazy.
Yeah, and someone won because the Broncos are a really, really bad football team. I actually think Brandon Staley's a good coach. Like, I wouldn't fire him even if Sean Payton wanted the job. I don't know. I'd think about that. But I
fired Brandon Staley in a heartbeat for somebody.
I think
Sean Payton and Justin Herbert. You fired Brandon Staley in a second.
I think Brandon Staley's doing okay. Breech, have you ever pulled a hamstring?
You know what? I haven't.
I have pulled multiple.
When you say pulled, do you mean like, you don't mean like torn, just like tweaked?
Well, yeah, you're not going to like this. The tweak is a tear. It's all variations of tears.
I've explained this before about that.
Yeah, I've torn multiple hamstrings. So I understand as an old person trying to kick anything with a torn hamstring is impossible. Here's my question. I don't know if you know the answer, Breech, but that black wrap that Dustin Hopkins had around his right tweaked hammy, do you think it was cold or hot?
I don't know. Hot.
I think cold.
I don't think you don't want cold though, because you don't want it to stiffen up. You've got to stay.
Here's the thing. I'm actually interested in this answer because, as an old person, I have to, when I get hurt, I have to, read up on how to rehab things. You don't want hot immediately to an injured area because it sends blood there and it causes inflammation. The cold actually reduces inflammation. So I would imagine in the moment, over the course of 2 hours, you don't want it to be inflamed, but I don't know. So
that's an end game with a kicker. That's very, very interesting. I would like to know that also.
So he had that wrap on, and it looked like he was just practicing his run up to see what it felt like on his hammy taking that first step. He wasn't even trying to kick into the net there. But I tell you what, man, he laced every kick, and I appreciate the fact that he failed on after every kick and milked up all the drama as someone who, he looked like he was like Willis Reed out there for people who were alive.
He looked like he was being shot in the leg every time.
He got shot 4 times.
But you know what? He came through. He hit them all. Had hit from 37, 31, 35, and 39. And he did it all with an injured leg. So props to Dustin Hopkins, who probably won't be playing next week because of his injured leg. I can't
imagine he plays next week. That's right.
But he hit them when they counted.
So they're tied atop the division, Brinson, with the Chiefs. How do you feel about my Chargers, my Super Bowl pick?
I'll still take my Chiefs against your Chargers.
What about my Broncos?
Yeah, they're going to win it. Don't worry about it. They're fine.
What would be more offensive? Is it more offensive for the Chargers to be 4-2 or the?
Oh, Paul in the comments makes a note. You alternate warm and cold every 20 minutes. I love it. That makes some sense. I have to look
You're in Arrested Development line that you alternate hot and cold.
Yeah, that's what Job did in the Magic Box.
What's more offensive, the Chargers being 4-2 or the Broncos potentially being 3-3? Because I feel like the Broncos is the answer there. Like the Broncos have collectively offended us as a football watching nation.
Did you feel like the Chargers? Did you feel like the Broncos lost that game or the Chargers won it?
The Broncos ran into each other on a punt. They lost it.
I thought the Broncos were the better team in this one game.
Get out of here
on Monday night.
No, they were not.
But neither team was good.
No, they were
okay.
too
That's
terrible.
fair. That is
Too
absolutely fair. Like, I don't disagree with
But
that.
this is why I said I'm fine with Brandon Staley pushing this off into overtime, because he knew eventually the Broncos would Broncos it up, and you have two numbnuts running into each other on a punt and deep in their own end that set up the game-winning field goal again by a one-legged kicker.
Which,
absolutely
and by the way, week 7 started with a muffed punt costing a team a game with the Bears, and here we are closing week 6 with the same situation.
So the
Bears are better than the
I
Broncos.
was looking at the Chargers beat the Raiders by 5, lost the Chiefs by 3, got smoked by the Jaguars. Such a weird game. They smoked the Texans, nearly gave it back to the Browns, and then snuck past the Broncos.
The Texans game was 27-24 with like 5 minutes left.
I felt like they owned them, but maybe I'm wrong.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In your heart of hearts, not counting your stupid Super Bowl pick,
Oh, God.
both Brinson and Breech, do you think that Russ Wilson improves? And I don't mean incrementally where he turns into a poor man's version of Geno Smith. I mean, turns into Russ Wilson. I don't think it's happening.
They asked us the same question on HQ earlier today. It was like the analogy I made, or I think it's an analogy, is, when the Patriots are playing poorly without Tom Brady, and we're like, well, Belichick's there. And not like Russ is Belichick, but it's just like, you just sort of trust intrinsically the ability of a player of Russ Wilson's caliber. I know we had apparently Wilson doesn't think he's a Hall of Famer, which I think is weird, but you trust him to try to figure it out and turn it around.
That's a bold prediction after 2 and 4.
Right now, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's cascading his way out of the.
Has that ever happened? Players play their way out of the Hall of
Stafford is slaloming down
a race to the bottom.
Who can get out of the Hall of Fame faster? I mean, like I've watched Russell Wilson play football for a long time, like a lot longer than most people spend. I mean, I watched him for 3 years at NC State. It would be shocking if he didn't find a way to kind of turn it around, but he just looks lost.
Okay, is he going to do it?
I will say yes, but I don't feel good about it.
Well, Breech said it's going to take a month. I don't
think he's going to go back to being.
It takes a month.
Russell Wilson in his prime. This is like a guy who ran a 4.440. He injured his leg. He came back. The team that wants him thinks he can still run the 4.440, even though they've never seen him do it since he came back from the injury. And then during the season, now he's running like a 5.4, and you're wondering what the heck's going on. And I think eventually he can get down to like 4.8 or 4.9, but I don't think he's ever getting near 4.4 again.
Breech again with the analogy, crushing it. I think that's exactly right. He's a 4.85 guy. We thought he was a 4.5,
and that's
guy.
it. You got to learn how to figure out how to deal with it. And
by the way, Geno Smith's running a 4.7 as we sit here.
He was a 5.4 guy his whole career.
Geno Smith's like who set the combine record for most fastest 40.
Brian J mentions that he thinks Russ is injured, which is what we in Brinson you've been talking about.
He's just, I think, and this is where I think this is a very interesting point to think about Russell is how does Dak Prescott look?
And Carson Wentz to a lesser degree.
That was the same injury, but it's similar. Like, I mean, what if there's a shoulder situation? Like, what?
But again, that's fine. But that's on the Broncos then. That makes the Broncos look negligent.
Okay, now he has a hamstring injury.
That I would say that too. I get it.
My God, I would say in a heartbeat if I looked like Russ. I would have been throwing out. I would be like the
plantar fasciitis, heart arrhythmia, just going down the list. What'd you say?
Operation the old game.
Oh yeah,
things wrong.
Like, I bring the board to the press conference and be like, "This is me."
Yeah. Oh, Paul has a good point here too. Breech is a marathoner. What does he know about sprinting?
Breech sprints the last mile.
Down hard.
Sprints the last mile to get in
a run a 3.3 or something like that right now.
So yeah, I don't think we're going to see Seattle Russ this season. Now, maybe if they get Sean Payton or some crazy offensive coordinator next year, maybe. But I wonder. Here's another question. So, 2022 right now, 23. The start of the 2024 season. Who's the Broncos quarterback? Because I'm not convinced it's going to be Russ.
Start of 2024.
Yeah. So next year, I'll give Russ 2023 to fix it. 2024.
Yeah, it's just like 3 weeks ago. It's still like, I mean,
Well, you still think Cliff Kingsbury's going to be coaching the Cardinals in 2024 as well?
He is.
I guarantee you both.
First of all, the Waltons may be a different story. The Bidwells ain't a different story. Russell Wilson, if they cut him, would have an $85 million dead cap hit in 2024. He's the quarterback.
I'm going to say neither Cliff nor Russ are in their current jobs. Breech, where are you on this?
In 2024?
Not next season, but the year after. Breech, where are you?
I mean, this is interesting. I feel
but if they trade him, it's not as bad.
Okay, well, on both those guys,
but I don't know who's going to take him.
If Russ is so bad, the Broncos won't start him. Who's taking him in a trade?
Right.
It turns into a Brock Osweiler situation where you have to trade a pick to the team to get them to take. We'll give you a second round pick if you take Russell Wilson from us.
I just don't understand why either of those teams. I get the numbers.
Oh, I mean, for the Broncos, it would be the negative $49.6 million in cap space they would lose, or they would
eating L's while you're paying this guy to be terrible.
That doesn't make sense. Why did the Broncos give him an extension? I picked him to win Super Bowl. I wouldn't have done it. I would have. He had 2 years left on his contract. You let him play 1 year in Denver, and then you give him an extension after this season if he proves himself.
Breach is about to sue the Broncos.
Well, I'm just saying, we all know he had that hand injury. You want to see him play well before you hand him that kind of money. It didn't make sense.
And yet you didn't see him play well, and you picked him to win the Super Bowl.
That's on you, man.
I'd feel dumb, and so I'm saying the Broncos should feel dumb.
Clip that, Billy. Clip that. Save that for later.
I didn't invest $250 million into my pick, though. That's the difference.
So Nathan in the chat says Russell with a decent coach is MVP material. I don't know. I just haven't seen it.
But that's an interesting point, because I do think that before the Broncos try to figure out before they try to pin it all on Russ, they'll pin it on Hackett.
Yeah, no, that's why
Russ is going to be the
under no circumstances in 2024 is Nathaniel Hackett the coach. I think
they're 5-1 with Sean Payton.
You're asking a lot of Russ for those 5 wins. Is all I'm saying.
You're asking nothing. You're asking to change like 3 different plays.
Both Cliff Kingsbury and Russell Wilson are terminated from their positions by the start of 2024. I will give you. I mean, what kind of odds do you want for this bet? It's not a tattoo situation either.
Oh, I'm taking this bet.
Like, I know, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of odds you want for it, because I think it's like
1,000 to 1.
Yeah, I was gonna go a little bit lower than that.
Yeah, what do you want?
I was gonna say like 25 to 1.
Yeah, I would 100% take 25.
I'll give you 25. You can bet up to $25 max, 25 to 1. I'm not losing $1,000 on some dumbass.
Yeah, no, I'll bet 10.
I hate both these guys. I'll bet
$10. I'll make just for fun. I'll bet $10.
All right, put it on the. All right, Billy.
Billy won't be here. Billy won't be here in 2 years either, by the way.
Ooh, do you want to ratchet up a Billy on there? It gets real personal.
Plus 35.
It's actually 23 to 1 now with Billy.
See ya.
Actually, Billy brings it down to like 20. All right, so we need an official idiot podcast bet sheet.
Yeah, 25 to 1.
25 to 1.
$10 on that. Both those
you guys
guys
pay me for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we both. I Venmo you 33, and yeah, because I said you were like I called you like a name in the.
Oh, I like that. Bet a shotgun. Loser has to shotgun a beer.
Oh, I thought. Wait a second.
I have to shotgun 5 beers in podcasts, and you have to shotgun 1. Is that
25-6? Oh,
I can't do 25 beers.
No, 25-6. I mean, what is it? 1994? I can't do 25-6. My goodness.
You know what I will say?
All right, I'll tell you what. Here's the bet.
Actually, we're almost done. I won't say anything.
I mean, this is like started 2024 anyway. Like, who knows if the world will be spinning?
Oh my gosh.
We'll do a shotgun a beer bet.
Okay.
You have to shotgun 1.
You have to shotgun 25?
No, 5.
Oh my gosh.
25?
No, 5's a lot. I mean, I'm
not thrilled about 5, but that's
you'll be
5 to 1 on shotguns is like a relative.
You'll be 58 in 3 years, 2 years. You're gonna do that as a 58-year-old? That's something. All right.
I mean, I'll casually shotgun a couple beers.
Charles Pister's like, y'all for real with the shotgun the beers? I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
You don't get that bleep over at Mile High Report, Charles, while you're still hanging around, son.
Anyway, room temp beer. Nooner suggests.
No.
I love a good room temperature beer.
Oh, disgusting.
What were you going to say, Breech?
I was going to start a whole new talking point, so I stopped myself.
Oh, go ahead.
We don't need to start it.
Oh, okay. In that case.
All right, let's get out of here.
But I was going to say,
I'll vomit it. But the bonus is like if I shotgun 5 beers, I'm going to vomit.
Okay.
Not out of like the beer, but like out of the sheer like liquid in my like stomach.
what about college age Brinson? Would he have vomited?
No.
I mean, I probably won't vomit.
He would have drove home. As he
No
makes
comment. All right, time to get. All right, look, that's the official bet. If on air, you have to shotgun a beer. If Cliff Kingsbury and or Russell Wilson are still
not or, and they're both gone.
no, it's the parlay. One of them, I have to do 5 if they're both gone. If either one of them is still there, you have to do one.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. That's right.
Live on air in this 2024.
Okay. I get to choose a beer. It's going to be a Bud Light Lime.
Wait, so like when the
It has to be
2024 season starts,
shotgun like an IPA.
is this like when the 2024 season starts, or does
Yeah,
get
like
December
week
31st,
one.
Like week 1 of the 2024
Week
season.
1. Yeah. Week 1.
If Russ is now, I'll give you trade too because we're downgrading it. So,
Yeah.
like if Cliff Kingsbury's traded to the Patriots straight up for Bill Belichick, then I'll let that one slide.
Yeah. There's not in their
all right,
current
he's
position.
traded to the Patriots. One of you has to shotgun a handle of vodka.
Oh my God, this guy.
But that Billy's like,
Serial
please, I
killer.
beg you, it's time. All right, that's it. That's the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Yeah, Wilson has to shotgun a barrel aged stout. Oh my God, I don't know if you can do that. Well, I guess you can find one at a camp.
Or a seltzer.
Yeah, I'll do a seltzer.
I mean, you want shotgun
A seltzer.
a Red Bull with a shot of vodka and then punch a Breech in the nuts.
Only after saying Breech.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
This is still a sensitive topic.
What's the capital of Thailand? There you go.
Brinson didn't know.
Neither
I
did
didn't
you.
get punched in the nuts either. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. For Breech, for Wilson, I'm Brinson. We'll see you guys later.